Tap in with my Instagram, man. My goal is 10K followers. If y'all active, I will follow back. Come on, y'all. I know we could do it, but hey, here go the vid. College football. One of the best things there is in America. When you think of it, you think of sold out crowds, student sections, crazy stadiums, and some of the best football games you'll ever see in your life. Now with college football, you got a lot of special players. Now, some of these players are just game managers, but then you got those players who are playmakers. I would consider myself one of those playmakers, but it didn't start out that way. I started off my college career by committing to the University of Buffalo. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I was just a young receiver trying to find his way. I didn't have a lot of crazy offers, but Buffalo just seemed like it could be a place where I could go and develop. So I took the chance. It was far away from home, but my dream was to make it to the league. So I was willing to do anything and everything to make that happen. Now Buffalo wasn't super big, but hey man, that's the beauty of college football. We had so many fans out there, it was sounding like we was bigger than we was. I mean, you could feel the energy throughout the whole stadium. Running out the tunnel, seeing the fans cheer you on for the first game of the season, man, it was a feeling like no other. But this story isn't all sunshine and roses. When I first started out, I wasn't even the number one option. I mean, I was just looking to work my way up in the rotation when opportunities presented themselves. But I did perform well in practice, so coach already knew that I had game. Now it was just only a matter of what can I do in the game. I still remember that first game of the season versus FCS East like it was yesterday. I mean, I had so much nerves, so many different things going on in my mind, but I knew I had to go out there and focus on playing. It was a new experience. You see, high school football didn't feel like that. Out there, I was the man. I already knew I was gonna get my targets. I basically already knew how the game was gonna go, even when we was playing against some of the top teams in the world. So I guess it's safe to say, if I wanted to reach my goal of making it to the league, hey, I was gonna have to put in some serious work. Now this game was tightly contested throughout the first 3 quarters. I mean, both teams was firing on all cylinders and doing what they needed to do. But in the end, it was us who ended up getting the dub. And my first ever college game was a win. No better way to start the season. After that, coach ended up giving me the opportunity to battle for that number 1 wide receiver spot. So you already know I wanted to come in there and show what I could do. Now some of the drills were completely different than drills I was used to. But hey, I just prayed about it, went in there, and gave it all I had. Man, they had this one drill where they was chasing me around the whole field. Man, I felt like Chip Skylark in that My Shiny Teeth and Me video. But in the end, I ended up winning the battle. And next thing you know, I was wide receiver 1. And it was at the perfect time too, because our next game was a big one against the University of Missouri. Now this school, it was definitely high on the radar in the SEC. And we already knew coming into this game, it's a chance we can get blown out, but we gonna come give it everything we got. And on the very first play of the game, I ended up getting 2 clutch blocks that would free up our quarterback to take that thing all the way to the crib. Man, and just like that, we were the first ones to put 7 on the board. And the team got crazy hype after that. But we had to remember, hey, we going against a team that's really good. And then next thing you know, they had us at the 1-yard line, and them boys got a safety. And all our hype had died down, because we knew that it might get real fast. And then, on the very next drive, the quarterback ended up throwing a pick. Now that was 2 bad situations that ended up happening back to back. And even though the team morale was going down, I still felt confident in what we had going. All we had to do was just take care of the football and we'd be all right. And then next thing you know, the QB threw a whole nother pick. Now I knew this was a big game, but bruh seemed hella nervous. I don't know if one of these Mizzou girls flashed him in the crowd or something, but he needed to lock in. And unfortunately he couldn't do that. And the team couldn't do that. And Mizzou ended up smoking us 43-14. But another thing I learned about college football, that you gotta put losses behind you. Coach always said, you gotta have a short-term memory. After 12 o'clock hit, man, you gotta forget about it. But to be honest, it really took me a long time to understand that. Because in high school, I wasn't really used to all that. I mean, I would let games affect me for weeks. If I had a bad game, man, I'd be thinking about that mug for so long, it would start to affect me in future games. But that was a habit that I had to get rid of. And in this game against the University of Massachusetts, man, by the time the fourth quarter started, the game was already over. I mean, them boys was up 37-10, and our QB ended up throwing the pick. And that was basically the nail in the coffin. And once again, the team had dropped 40 on us. But the crazy thing about it, the University of Massachusetts wasn't even a crazy team like Mizzou. And I'm not saying that to tell y'all that they were a bad team, but they weren't good enough to be dropping 40 on us and us only scoring 17 points. But like I told y'all earlier, in this game, you gotta have a short-term memory and keep on moving. Now by this time in the season, I was really starting to feel comfortable with this college football thing. I mean, at first I was a little nervous and I didn't know what I wanted for my career, but now I just wanted to be the best me I could be. Of course, every player has their dream of maybe one day winning the Heisman or even a national championship, but the position I'm in, I gotta work for that times 10. And in this game against Northern Illinois, I was starting to show coach that, hey, I could be a go-to option if need be. Some of the catches I was making, they was elite. I guess the quarterback really started to trust me, but I still had a lot of work to do to get on his radar. I was still a freshman, and some people on this team may have not considered me wide receiver 1 even though I won the battle. That respect you gotta earn. But the way I was performing, it's looking like the trajectory I was on, I was gonna earn that respect real soon. But we happened to struggle in this game just like we did in the previous games. The quarterback was throwing picks, and by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, we found ourselves losing by a significant margin. So we found ourselves trying to fight back in this game, and we put 7 on the board after we only had 9 points. But it might have been too little too late. And then the next thing you know, the quarterback ended up throwing another pick 6. And that would basically be the nail in the coffin for that game. Now mind you, I don't mean to bash anybody, but at this point, I mean, bro was throwing interceptions left and right, and he needed to fix it. Because if we was going to make a push for a conference championship, or even to have just a dominant season, we need our quarterback to be on point. But sadly, the struggles continued. I mean, I'd have a completion here and there, but there would be times where the quarterback would throw the ball where I had no chance of getting it. And it would be interception after interception, incompleted pass after incompleted pass. And as the season went on, we just couldn't find our rhythm. But hey man, I was just doing the best possible job I could to make sure I was running my routes correctly and I was open. But I mean, I can't control everything on the field, man. I only play one position. So we got to be able to come together and work as a unit. But like I said, I would always make sure I was open. So when the quarterback looked for me, you could almost believe it would be a grab. Now this game we had against UConn, it got pretty ugly very fast. I mean, once again, UConn wasn't even no crazy team. But when they played against us, man, they was looking like the best team in the nation. Man, we was out there getting smoked like a hookah lounge. And it's crazy to think that because I thought I was having a pretty good game. I mean, I had a number of receptions and I was getting us down the field or converting on third down if we needed to. But it was that interception machine, man. I told y'all, This dude was good for throwing about 2 picks a game, maybe even more than that. If you gave me the over or under on DraftKings on his interceptions, I'd probably bet the over on about 5. Okay, 5 may be a little extreme, but y'all get the point. It started to turn into frustration because we actually had a lot of talent on this team. But you ain't gonna win football games off of strictly talent. You gotta have a lot of team chemistry, man. I'm telling you. You gotta be able to come together in these moments when you're struggling. And that's what I was hoping we could do because teams was making it look too easy against us. The next thing you know, it was 10-27 in this game. And me, I was still trying to do my thing, get us down the field, and see if we had an opportunity to make something happen. And before you knew it, I had my first ever collegiate touchdown. And to this day, I don't know which one felt better. Me getting my first ever collegiate touchdown or me getting buns for the first time. But I can tell you, both of them is high up there on my radar. Season went on and then we ended up meeting Ball State University. Now, we was taking L's left and right, so coming into every single game, I just wanted to showcase my talent, but also help us win. I'm definitely a team player, but I felt like I was one of the best options, if not the best option on our defense. I mean, I won that wide receiver 1 battle for a reason, but we also did have a decent running back. I mean, he would do his job in games. I didn't feel like he was more productive than me though. But I mean, hey, I'm not here to tell y'all who better. I'm here to tell y'all about how we was getting smacked every single game. And this game against Ball State was no different. But the thing that was different, I ended up breaking off for a huge run. And it came off a screenplay. Now the way our offense will operate, sometimes we couldn't always go to the deep route. So I decided, why don't I just become a master at the short routes and the screens? And all in all, it ended up working. In the very next game against Ball State, I had my second touchdown of my career. So hey, once I figured out that was gonna be my bread and butter, I just continued to work on that. Cause the quarterback, man, he was struggling with the medium and deep routes, so I would always make sure I was working on those short routes, being available. Even if it wasn't the route I was supposed to run, I still do it sometimes. Just freestyle, go crazy with it. And man, in this game, we was putting points on the board. It seemed like everybody was fired up and they was tired of losing. I also realized this game that I could be real good at blocking, and I was putting some of the cornerbacks on their backside. But in the end, we ended up getting the dub, and I was just happy to be back in the win column because we had went through a couple of tough losses. I mean, the type of losses that'll derail your whole season. But I still believed, and the rest of the guys believed, that we could be pretty good. A few weeks later, we had a matchup against Eastern Michigan. And man, in the first quarter, I had a play where I came across the middle and got hammered like a toolbox. At this point in the season, I think most teams started to figure out what I was good at. I mean, yeah, I had some pretty good route running and agility, but what they also didn't know, I had a lot of speed on me. I mean, my last name Ferrari for a reason, because once I get the ball, man, I can get the moving. And I was starting to drop defenders too. I wanted to become a well-rounded receiver. I wanted to be able to run crisp routes, catch the ball, and also get yards after the catch. And honestly, I think I was on my way to doing that. And man, during this game against Eastern Michigan, I mean, we was smoking them 41-7, and then we ended up winning the game 41-21. It felt good being on the other end of that, because I definitely know what it felt like to have 40 dropped on you. And I actually had a really good game. I had a couple good plays where I got yards after the catch, and I had a couple of deep receptions. We all knew we had a lot more work to do, but this win showed us, hey man, that we can compete with some of the best teams in the conference. Now, right after that, we had a matchup against Kent State. And in this game, man, it was snowing. And that was crazy. I had never played in a snow game in my life. And to be honest with y'all, it looked tough from the outside looking in. But during this game, I'm like, bro, it is hella cold and I'm slipping everywhere because of this snow. But that didn't affect us though. In the first quarter, our QB ended up throwing a bomb to one of our receivers, and we put points on the board first. But in the blink of an eye, Kent State put up 10 points on the board. And once again, we found ourselves fighting back from a deficit. But that slippage I told y'all I was having in the beginning of the game, it went away by the time the second quarter hit. And once it did, I had some grip, and I was able to get a little shifty and also get open on my route running. I remember watching film after this game and thinking to myself, if I just tweak a couple of things, man, there's no doubt in my mind I could be an 1,000-yard receiver. If I could put up 1,000 yards in one season, I really feel accomplished. But in the third quarter, we was in the red zone, and I ended up running a slant route for the tutty and got another touchdown to add to my season total. And I'm gonna keep it $1.75. We had a couple of fun games this season, but I think this one might have been the most fun. We had the stadium rocking, and the game was super competitive. I mean, that's all you can ask for in these college games. I just had to try my hardest to not focus on the pancakes that was gonna be there after the game. And I ain't talking about IHOP. And with a score of 20-21, I ended up getting in the end zone again for my second touchdown of the game. That was my first time having 2 touchdowns in one game. I felt like the man. Man, Charlie Sheen couldn't tell me nothing. Because after this game, I was definitely going to be the one winning. And with a score of 20-28 in the fourth quarter, we ended up hitting the dagger. Got one more touchdown, and we got them boys up out of there. In that game, it will wrap up my freshman season. When they announced the awards at the end of the year, I seen that Shedeur Sanders won the Heisman. Perfect timing. I already knew them boys at Colorado was over there balling. And as for me, I ended up making an all-conference team. And for the year, I had 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, and plenty of room for improvement. Coming into my sophomore season, I was super confident. I felt like in the offseason, I put in a lot of work, and this year, I could potentially get 1,000 yards. And man, I started off hot early this season. It ain't take me that long to score my first touchdown of the year like it did last year. But back to what I was saying though. This year I wanted to hit 1,000 yards, and also I wanted to see if I could help this team get a winning record. But a lot of stuff was different this year, man. The quarterback we had last year ended up graduating. So now a sophomore had to step up to the plate. And some of the same struggles the last quarterback had, this quarterback had. And some people may believe our team got a little bit worse, but my performances on the field, they ended up getting better. And it's weird how that works. I figured everybody would be working in the off season like I did. But it seemed like that wasn't the case when we ended up getting to the actual season. I'm not gonna say it was like that for everybody, because some people I was looking at, and I can tell they had got significantly better. But some other dudes I was looking at them and felt like they needed to go right back home. Now we started off the year 2-2, which is kinda similar to our start last year. And the 3 main routes that were my go-tos would be a zig, a comeback, or an end route. And if I ain't have any of that, I'll just end up freestyling something. But most of the time, the zig and the comeback route, it'll be there. And I wanted to get used to beating people over the top, but with this quarterback, it just wasn't possible, man. And I honestly can't blame bro. I mean, our offensive line will fold like a lawn chair within 3 seconds. And that's exactly why I keep telling y'all I'll work on them short routes. And it ended up paying off. Because in this game, I hit a milestone as I had 75 receptions on the year already. I mean, it was only the 5th game. I'm telling y'all, that off-season work got crazy. I also had to get in the weight room because coming across that middle, man, you'll mess around and get smoked. I mean, I was bench pressing females all summer, but I also had to make sure I bench pressed them 45s. I mean, technically, don't they both count as working out, right? Why y'all not saying right? But anyway, this was my second time playing against Northern Illinois. And I know we could actually beat these dudes by a lot, but man, the quarterback ended up throwing a pick, and they ended up taking the lead 13-10. And I'm telling y'all, on some of my routes, bro, I would just completely be freestyling because I could already tell that the QB wasn't going to get it there in time. And this is a part of what made me a great addition to this team, because I was able to just make stuff happen. But it seems like right when we would get close to scoring, something catastrophic would happen. And this is something that constantly came up in our team meetings. I mean, we were well aware of it, and so was the coaching staff. It was definitely something we dealt with my whole time being at Buffalo. But as this game winded down in the fourth quarter, we found ourselves down by 6 points. And this is the time where I come up and I show out. Ever since playing football in high school, I've been pretty calm in high pressure situations. So if the game on the line and you need somebody clutch to step up, hey, call on number 4 every time. And that's exactly what was going on this whole drive. And then I ended up punching it in and put 7 on the board and helped get us the lead. And that was a dominant drive because almost every time we was moving the chains, it was because of me. I don't want to take all the credit, but I feel like if it's a game-winning drive, I most likely should. But their offense came right back down and hit a field goal. And then we found ourselves down by 2. And with 17 seconds left, man, we was looking to get this dub. I got open for a minute and we took a shot, but the ball just wasn't where it was supposed to be. And we ended up losing this game, a game we could have easily won. And you can best believe that one was stinging afterwards. These tough losses were starting to pile up, and man, it was hitting me hard. Because I knew we weren't a bad team, we just couldn't execute. That's something that's important in football. You gotta be able to execute and finish. And as the season went on, I just kept trying to be as consistent as possible. Now, a lot of y'all that's watching this right now will learn, if you just focus on winning and competing, the rest of the stuff will come. Because that's all that was on my mind. And next thing you know, I was racking up yards, getting a number of completions, and helping the offense keep flowing and keep going. So man, you just gotta worry about the little things, and then everything else, it'll come along, trust me. We had another tough conference matchup against Bowling Green. And man, we honestly had a 2-point lead for the longest. And going into the fourth quarter with that 2-point lead, man, I thought all we had to do was just take care of the ball and we would have this in the bag for sure. But you know how this thing go. Everything ain't always a walk in the park when it comes to this team. We even got this pass interference call that would put us in great field position, but sadly, we just couldn't punch it in the end zone. And it's crazy because I was heating up like a hot pocket this game. But coach, man, that dude wanted to go to the run game so bad. And I had already had a lot of completions. And then with 28 seconds to go, all we needed was a first down. And sadly, I couldn't get over the marker. And we would end up losing this game to Bowling Green right after that. And I honestly put that loss on me. It was a lot of factors that happened in that game, but man, if we would have got that first down, we would have got that dub easily. But like I told y'all earlier, I grew into that habit of having a short memory. So we was on to the next game against Central Michigan. And bro, when I tell y'all, y'all will not believe how this game went. So in the first quarter, the quarterback ended up throwing a pick 6. And that was the first points that Central Michigan ended up putting up on the board. Now I know what y'all thinking. Don't panic. There's still a lot of football left to play. You're right. And we came down on the other end and I ended up getting open from a corner route and getting a touchdown. So then we put 7 on the board. But man, I didn't have a clue in the world, bro. So as the game went on, I continued to do my thing. I mean, I was getting open almost every time I was running a route. It don't matter where he was throwing the ball, I was most likely catching it. And man, I was making it look easy, but trust me, it wasn't easy. And I think he got to the point where he just figured he'd throw it to me every single time. And that led to him throwing the second pick of the game, which almost ended up in a pick 6, but luckily we was able to bring him down. But nah, that's not it. Bro said, hey, here go another one. I was supposed to run a corner route, but I guess he seen me take a step inside and decided to throw it. So just like that, Your boy had 3 picks already in the game. You know, I mess with my guy, but sometimes I wish we had a QB like that guy from Iowa. If y'all seen him, bruh, hey, some of his highlights is crazy. But anyway, back to the game. Hey man, we was not going out of here without a fight. Our tight end ended up getting free from the defense and got a crazy touchdown. And then right after that, they found your boy open in the end zone again. And that was my second tutty for the day. You already know I was getting jiggity in that end zone. I had people watching, man. I had to make sure I show out. You gotta have fun with it sometimes. And then with the score being 23-41, we came down and we scored again. Man, we really just needed our defense to string together some stops, because we was starting to move the ball down the field. I mean, the offense was definitely clicking. It only took us throwing 3 picks to finally do it, but I mean, we still got to the money. And man, you know me, I was working on getting open, doing them short routes, medium routes, any type of route you needed. But after my second touchdown, I wasn't even the one scoring for real. That was the other offensive weapons we had, which is why I said, man, when the offense is clicking on all cylinders, we're a pretty good team. But we ended up losing this game by only 3, despite him throwing 6 total interceptions. I mean, I try to defend this dude as much as possible, but I don't think I can defend that one. I mean, this dude had more picks than the NFL draft. But anyway, next up, we had a game against Ball State, and they had the best cornerback in the conference. Word on the street is he was telling people that he was finna stop what I was doing. And he ended up striking first. He got a little interception on me because I couldn't get to the ball quick enough. But hey, man, that's what I live for, these tough battles. And then the pick monster was right back at it, throwing them interceptions left and right. Next thing I knew, I looked up and it was 15-0. And then my man threw another interception. And at this point, I'm like, hey, yo, bro, come on, man. I got a matchup against this cornerback, and you just making us look bad. Bro threw 3 picks so fast, he didn't even know what to do. And then he ended up throwing a 4th one. And I remember telling coach after that 4th interception, bro, can y'all please just get me the ball any way possible? So we ended up running a screen play, and well enough, man, I almost took that thing to the crib. In only 1 play, I got us in the red zone that easy. And I was trying to tell bro the whole time, bro, just find me and I can keep us in this game. But with it being 28-0, I didn't know if it was much I could do at this point. Luckily, we ended up driving down the field and we put 7 points on the board. So we wasn't finna go out with a Krispy Kreme donut. I mean, we had to leave here with something. No Denzel Washington. And me, man, I just kept playing hard, man. I knew this game was probably over, but hey, never say never. We ended up running a hurry-up offense right after I got a big gain, and I low-key wanted to keep it going on that drive. I mean, they supposedly had the best cornerback in the conference, but I was making it look kind of easy. Sadly, the multiple interceptions was distracting everybody from that. I even got a touchdown called back on me because they thought I wasn't all the way in the end zone. But luckily on the next play, I got it right back. And I had a touchdown on that boy head. So I had to do the head tapping baby celebration after that. I mean, you supposed to be the best. We was losing though, so I figured it was a little foolish to celebrate right there. But then I came back down and got another touchdown on him. And I'm like, all right, now I can do whatever I want. Because I got 2 tutties on your head, a whole bunch of yards. And yeah, you're not the best, bro. I'm the best in the conference. Maybe one of the best in the world. And sadly, we lost to Ball State by 10 points. And once again, the turnover monster, that's what killed us, bro. But after that performance, 146 yards with 2 touchdowns on the best cornerback supposedly in the conference, hey, I got player of the week. But to be honest, I was only happy about it for about 5 seconds. I mean, can't y'all understand my pain, bro? At this point in the season, we only had 2 wins. We was really doing worse than last season. And I thought this year we was finna make a jump because I worked so hard in the off season to get better. But it was just like, man, we could never click. And I forgot to tell y'all I was actually going so crazy that I was approaching 1,000 yards for the season, which is one of my goals that I had set after my first year. But then I was just thinking to myself, man, can I really count this season as an accomplishment? I mean, yeah, I set out to get 1,000 yards, but we be losing, bro. Think about some of the best athletes that have played sports across the world that be on a losing team. Most people don't respect them like that. So winning was definitely important to me. I mean, yeah, self-accolades is cool, but at the end of the day, what are we playing sports for if you ain't trying to win? And man, I was honestly giving it everything I had at Buffalo. But was Buffalo giving me everything they had? Don't get me wrong, this girl on the volleyball team was definitely giving me everything she had. And a little bit more at that. Maybe too much. Maybe I shouldn't be telling y'all this stuff. But I do need to tell y'all, this game was the last game of the season, and it was definitely a nerve-wracking one at that. I mean, it started off as these boys having an early lead, and then we had a costly fumble, man. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, after that fumble, a lot of the team thought it was over. Man, they was already giving up. But there was still a few guys on the team who believed we could end up pulling this off. And with the score being 21-7, our running back ended up rushing it in, and he got us the score that we needed. And after that, we just kept on rolling. You know, your boy was getting open and moving them chains down the field. And I actually had 2 major head taps on this drive. One of them came on this 1st and 10, and a lot of people don't know how I made that catch. Man, I don't know how I made it either, but hey, we move. And then there was this one where they moved me to the other side of the field, and I basically caught it right over Buddy. Talk about getting mossed. We then found ourselves in the red zone again, 2nd and goal. Our running back tried to punch it in, but the defense definitely made a stand. But you know who ain't gonna make a stand? That cornerback. Routed him up and got the tutty. And man, we was right back in this game. And after that touchdown, man, everything changed. The offense was back locked in like how we are when we're at our best. And when that happens, we can match up with anybody. The only problem is when it happens, we already be down. And our running back ended up going on an insane rush and taking it all the way to the crib. And just like I was telling y'all, when we fully focused, when we clicking on all cylinders, man, nobody can mess with us. We found ourselves on a crucial drive with only about 40 seconds left to go. And really, all we needed was a touchdown to win the game. And our quarterback ended up coming in clutch to find one of our receivers, and we ended up icing the game. Now, man, this season definitely was what it was, but I'm just happy we got to end the season out on a W. After entering the transfer portal, I narrowed down my 2 schools to Notre Dame and Oklahoma. And I was leaning towards the Fighting Irish, but Oklahoma showed a lot of interest, and it felt like they really wanted me. So I ended up calling their coach and made it happen. I felt like me joining Oklahoma would help me get to the national championship sooner. Get it? Oklahoma sooner? Come on, bro. But anyway, this team was definitely capable of being a playoff team. However, the season before I came, they actually didn't make it into the college playoffs. So my goal coming in here was to come in and bring a new offensive weapon to this high-powered offense. After making first team all-conference last year and surpassing 1,000 receiving yards, I got the opportunity to fight for the number 1 receiver spot right off the bat. And y'all boys know, I did my thing. And I was coming into the first game of the season as the number 1 option. Now, some of you may be thinking, why Oklahoma? Well, the offense that they run is perfectly fit for my play style. I call it an A+ fit. And plus, I already told y'all, this team was super interested in me after the season I had last year, and they believed, so hey man, why not give it a shot? But for everybody watching, I want to make sure y'all stay tuned for this season. I mean, I had a crazy year last year, but trust me, this one was the best season ever in my life. Now, the first game of the season was against UTEP, and instead of Oklahoma University, Y'all might call us Alexis Fox University cause we was getting blown out. But never fear because Isaac Ferrari is here. And I definitely was getting open in this game. I mean, I just told the quarterback, hey, I know I'm new here and we ain't got a lot of chemistry yet, but trust me, by the end of the season, I'm gonna be one of your best friends on the field, man. It was kind of disappointing that we was losing this bad at home during the season opener. But, you know, we didn't really have a lot of chemistry yet. I was new here. We had another wide receiver that was new here. So we had to get into the flow of things. The quarterback even tried to hit me on this slant route and tried to fit it in a tight pocket, but hey man, it resulted in an interception. But on this next play right here, I ended up getting 2 insane blocks that would help free up our running back, and he took that mug all the way to the crib for the tutty. And we was back in the game, man. Just as quick as we got down, we turned it around just as quick. It was 24-20, and then we ended up punching in another touchdown, and man, we had a significant lead after that. And I had a good game, to be honest. I mean, I was well over 100 receiving yards, and that's one of the things the offensive coordinator was challenging me to in the first game. And then on top of that, I ended up getting a touchdown. So not only did I achieve the accomplishment that the coordinator wanted me to achieve, I got that and then some. And it was my first touchdown as a Sooner, so it was special. So man, y'all boys know we got the dub with no problem. Even though we was getting smoked like a paper in the beginning, but y'all just ignore y'all seen that. All that matters is we put 40 points on the board. That's a decent amount of points. But the next game of the season happened to be up against Michigan, the number 5 ranked team in all of college football. Talk about a second game. And man, on this route I was supposed to run a corner, but similar to the other QB at Buffalo, I took a step in and he decided to throw it. And he ended up throwing an interception. So hey, I guess we could say that was on me, but I mean, I was running my correct route, bro. But we ended up getting the ball back. Our defense held it down. And as we were in the red zone, our wide receiver almost died trying to flip into the end zone for a touchdown. But I mean, hey, we ended up getting it and almost cost the bro his life. The medical bills was finna be through the roof. I was finna have to change my position from wide receiver to pallbearer. But anyway, we ended up scoring again, and then we found ourselves up against Michigan 14-3. Talk about it, man. We was really putting up numbers against the number 5 team in the nation until the quarterback threw a pick. I'm telling y'all, bro, them picks throughout my career be killing me, bro. And I don't even be throwing the ball. But every time I see that, man, it's like my heart dropped. And also in this game, I ended up accomplishing 250 career receptions. So you can never say your boy ain't consistent. It ain't matter who was throwing the ball, because this was my 3rd QB in 3 years. And as soon as I got hype about my career receptions, bro ended up throwing a pick 6. I mean, I'm telling y'all, every time I get a little bit of joy on this football field, man, God just be like, nah, bruh, you gonna have to go through something real quick. But as the game went on, Michigan actually ended up going on a run and they took the lead. And with 18 seconds left to go, he threw another pick. And sadly, we was gonna end up losing to the number 5 team in all of college football that we actually could have beat. But moving on, we had a game against New Mexico. And them boys was 2-0 and we was 1-1. So we wanted to definitely give them their first one. And I tried to make an incredible diving catch after the QB threw it a little bit out of reach, and it ended up being an interception. And history was starting to repeat itself. That is until the running back absolutely turned into a Super Saiyan and then went on a crazy rush and took that thing all the way to the crib. Just when I thought things was finna get bad, hey, that boy came in clutch. And then on this screenplay, I ended up doing my thing and getting the easy first down, just warming up for the game. And you already know I was putting them boys on the floor with them blocks, making room for our running back to go ahead and do work. And as the game went on, I was just looking to help any way I could. And then I ended up getting this crazy grab. over 2 defenders. I ain't see nobody in front of me, and I ran all the way to the crib for a tutty. And to be honest with y'all, till this day, I still don't know how I caught that, but hey, I guess I'm just him. And after I scored that, hey, your boy just went on a spree. Hey man, I was starting to see red. And no, I'm not saying that because they had red in their jerseys, but hey man, you get what I'm trying to say. I was getting hot after that. I told the QB just look for me, throw it my way, and I'm gonna make sure I move them chains. And with 50 seconds left to go in the third quarter, I ended up running a little over route, and man, I saw daylight again. I ain't see too many people in front of me, and them boys tried to bring me down, but they could not do it. I was moving like Thanos, Mark Henry, Derrick Henry, whoever you want to call it, bro. But they could not bring me down on that possession, and I ended up getting my second touchdown of the game. I was going insane. If I keep playing football like this, they're gonna have to put me in the Hall of Fame. And right after that, our running back rushed in and we put 7 more on the board. Man, New Mexico was putting up a fight though. But if I ain't have a monster game like this, we probably wouldn't have won this game. And it actually ended up going into overtime. And New Mexico had a lead, 38-35. But on the 2nd and 10 play, hey man, y'all know who to call. Call number 4 whenever you need me. And I ended up getting another touchdown that would help us ice the game. And I had 3 end zone trips for the day. And man, we got the overtime dub over New Mexico, and the whole team was hype. And me, man, I had the best game of my career so far. And now that I think about it, might be my best game ever. Almost cracked 250 receiving yards, got 3 touchdowns, and I was SEC Offensive Player of the Week. And it was after that game, hey, I started to take the world by storm. You see, a lot of people still didn't believe at me after everything I did at Buffalo. They thought, oh, it's a weaker school. Let's see them do it against some actual comp. Well, I slid to the SEC and then put up a 250 bomb. So how you feel about that? But the next game we had to go against Mississippi State. And after coming off of that game, I wanted to keep the momentum going. And just like that, your boy was in the end zone again. Different game, same mentality, same me, Isaac Ferrari, the one and only. And I'm not gonna cap, my junior year was off to a pretty decent start. We had this 14-0 lead against Mississippi State though, and I really thought we had this game in the bag, especially coming off the performance we did last game. I thought we was gonna cruise in here, get the dub easy. But if it's one thing I learned about college football, man, the game is never over until that clock hits 0. I'm telling you, teams could fight back from any score. It's a fast-paced game, and anything is possible. So you just got to expect the unexpected, and you got to keep going hard until the game is over. But man, them boys ended up putting 17 points on the board just like that. And then, on top of that, pick 6. As if we didn't need anything else bad to happen this game. But just like I told y'all a couple minutes ago, whenever you call me, I'm gonna be there. And it was on this specific drive where I started to heat up. I started off getting the big game, and then next thing you know, I got another big game right after that. And after that reception, all that was on my mind was the end zone. And y'all already know, I was right there where I said I was gonna be. Had another touchdown for this game, and it was my second. And that was 5 touchdowns in the past 2 games already. Your boy was starting to solidify himself as one of the best receivers in the world. But we still had a task in hand. We had to finish this game. And with a 35-25 lead, there was still a lot of football left to be played. But we ended up finding ourselves in the red zone again, and our running back did his thing and put 7 more points on the board. And for some odd reason, the damn LSU mascot decided to pull up to this game and his team ain't even here. That was probably the most head-scratching moment I've ever had in my life. But on the other hand, your boy got another touchdown and I had 3 on the day. So that was back-to-back 3 touchdown performances. So hey, you can best believe people starting to take me serious now. So much that I was starting to get doubled, sometimes even tripled. So this was the perfect opportunity for some of the other receivers to shine. Now, I don't want to be biased, but I would say we have the best receiving core in all of college football. I mean, we had a good room on this team. Even with the tight ends too. We could match up with almost anybody. And we found ourselves getting hot immediately in this game against Florida, being up 14-0. What I just tell y'all last game, man, expect the unexpected. QB tried to hit me on a little out route through a pick, and Florida ended up putting 3 on the board. But we found ourselves in the red zone again, and bada bing, bada boom, me and that end zone was once again friends. Man, I was seeing the end zone more than my girl. It was crazy. Y'all already know I'm capping though. I see her every night. Too much. Somebody send help, please. But we still got a football game to play, and our QB threw a pick that would end up being a pick 6. And this dude had a couple of pick 6s on the year, so I was getting a little concerned. If we wanted to make a push for the college playoffs, man, we got to clean that up. And Florida was slowly making their way back into this game. And I can't speak for the others, but I was getting worried. But your boy ended up meeting the end zone once again. I told y'all I'm starting to see that mug a lot lately. That was about 8 touchdowns in the last 3 games. And right when I thought we was finna take off, tried to run a little comeback route that ended up being another pick 6. The second pick 6 of the game. This was getting embarrassing, man. And then I just looked up at the scoreboard and Florida was up by 1. It was 38-37. And I'm like, man, ain't no way this dude threw another pick that would end up being a pick 6. Man, I'm telling y'all, if y'all could see the look on Coach's face after that happened, man, y'all would all be dying laughing, I promise you. Now, the game wasn't over yet, and we was still within range to make a comeback. All we needed was 1 touchdown. And the drive we had was a pretty good drive because we ended up getting that touchdown. But sadly, we couldn't convert on the 2-point conversion because he threw another pick. And I'm not going to cap, we beat his ass in the locker room afterwards, so you already know what's going on. But next up, we had a showdown against the University of Texas. We had to go against the Longhorns, man. I don't even go to the Longhorns restaurant to eat. So I was coming in this game to show these boys, hey, y'all trash. But every year, Oklahoma has a classic game against Texas. So I was already aware of the culture. But coming into this game, hey, they ain't played me yet. And I'm something they got to be worried about. But sadly, a fumble occurred in the first quarter. Luckily, it led to nothing. What also happened in the first quarter, your boy got in that end zone for a tutty, and I had the arena hype. And man, that thing was jam-packed. I couldn't even see one empty seat in the entire venue. Everybody pulled up for this one. And after we got that first touchdown, I ended up breaking free, got another big gain. I ain't see nobody in front of me, and I went all the way to the crib for the tutty. And just like that, your boy had 2 touchdowns already, man. We ain't even hit halftime yet, and your boy was already cooking. And just when the Texas defense thought it was over, bombs away. We kept moving down the field. It was like we was unstoppable on offense this game, man. Don't get me wrong, Texas had a very good secondary. Just not when we playing them. They can go against any other team and be dominant, but when number 4 on the field, hey man, you gotta look out. I was already having a career day, and then I got into the end zone again. At this point, everybody should be feeling sorry for Texas because they had no response for our offense. And similar to how it was with my Buffalo team, when we are locked in, bro, nobody can beat us. Our offense was completely explosive this game. I mean, every time you blinked, we was almost in the end zone, if not already in there. And we ended up getting that dub over Texas. And this was the second game in my career that I was close to 250 receiving yards. Talk about a milestone. And once again, your boy was named Player of the Week. And I was stringing together a really good junior season. I'm talking elite. But you know what they say, man, the show must go on. and our next game would be up against Arkansas. And man, our jerseys were so similar to theirs, I thought we was playing against ourselves for a minute. But on the very first play of the game, our offense got right back to being explosive. It's like we never left. At this point in the season, it was getting pretty likely that I would be in the running for that Heisman Trophy. So I took full advantage. Every game I was making sure I was extra aggressive, and it was paying off. I was becoming a matchup nightmare for every DB that was in front of me. And in this game, it didn't take me that long to find the end zone. And honestly, this experience was crazy. I still remember my freshman year when I was hype about getting my first touchdown of the whole season. Now, it was to the point where I was getting a touchdown every week, every game, every time I stepped foot on the field. And nobody would have thought we would jump out to a 21-0 lead on these boys. Man, we was looking real dominant. But I already told y'all about that receiving core though. I believe we got the best in football. And when the QB locked in and we locked in, man, we are a force to be reckoned with. I was just hoping we can make a push for that conference championship. I know the SEC is a very tough conference, and to win a championship in that conference would be big. But man, the QB ended up throwing a pick six, and at this point I was used to it, bro. I mean, them things happen way too often. But that didn't stop us from doing what we had to do on the offensive end. I told y'all, I was starting to become a matchup nightmare. I was putting in extra work every single week just to make sure I was ready for game day. I always had a plan as a youngin' to keep my grades up in school, so by the time I got to my later years, I could just chill and focus on my craft. And that's exactly what this junior year was about. I mean, the grades was already there. My GPA was like a 3.7, so I just focused on working out and putting in extra hours. And just when you thought we was about to score on 3rd and 7 in the red zone, another interception. And between me and y'all, bro, the quarterback that we had this year, he had almost as many interceptions as he had touchdowns. Now, I ain't want to put him on the spot like that, but if Buddy thinking about going to the league, he may need to stay for another year. We ended up getting a dub over Arkansas, so it was all good. And as the season went on, man, I feel like I just got better and better. Now, I wasn't putting up 3 or 4 touchdowns every single game, but the yards was definitely there. I mean, I was racking up yards left and right. I became a master of the short routes. My medium route game was smooth, and don't even get me started on the deep routes. It's like I got faster. In week 9, we had a matchup against Sam Houston, and it was in this game where I achieved another milestone. I had 4,000 career receiving yards, man. And who would have thought? My freshman year I only had 500. So to say I boosted all the way up to 4,000, man, that is crazy. I heard that a lot of people in college don't even do that, especially within 3 years. But I told y'all, man, I was starting to rack up them yards like it was nothing. And man, oh man, if I see somebody pressing me, you can almost guarantee I'm gonna be open right after that. I got real good at breaking the press as well. And once my QB found that out, hey man, he just throw it over the top with ease. I had that type of trust. Now that I think about it, my whole junior season was full of a bunch of crazy games. I mean, I had a couple of them that went to overtime and came down to the last play, and a couple of them that were blowouts. But most of the time, hey, we would achieve the accomplishment of putting up 40 points on the board. I remember my team back at Buffalo could barely put up 20. And we was putting up double that. I even had this one game where I had 360 receiving yards. Can y'all believe that? Y'all remember them games where I was only putting up like 60, 90? To get 360 is absolutely insane. After that game, I had to sit down with my coach and offensive coordinator, and man, they was telling me I had a good chance of making it to the league. And they was a little bit hesitant on telling me that because they wanted me to still lock in on the season because we had a lot of work to do, but I was well aware. I mean, I check my phone and social media almost all the time. So anytime my name was in any blogs, any news reports, I would most likely see it. But I tried to get out of that habit though and stay locked in on the main task. And for the most part, I did do that. I ain't never let none of that derail me or anything. And even when I found out it was a chance I could go to the league, man, I still wanted to win games. I mean, what's the point of playing if you're not trying to be the best? And I wanted to strive to be the best wide receiver in college football. Some of these dudes really only be out here just to be out here. I mean, they only care about the NIL deals. But I mean, I care about winning and getting that national championship, the ultimate goal. And that's what separated me from a lot of people. And man, we was knocking teams off, good teams at that too. So I always thought we had a real good shot at it. We had a good fan base behind us too, man. Every time we played at the crib, man, we had the stadium rocking. Even on away games, our fans would travel to those, and we still hear the noise from our fans. It's good to have a good fan base behind you, because that just make you play even better. And they stayed with us the entire way throughout the season. We faced a lot of good teams in the SEC, but eventually, we had to play the juggernaut that had never lost, and that would be no other than the University of Georgia. Now, according to the analytics and reports, they would have the best cornerback that I would ever face in college football. But man, I wasn't worried about all that. Like I said, once we get on that field, it's me and you. It's one-on-one. And I had no doubt in my mind I could hold my own against any cornerback. Hey, call me crazy, but I think if you put an NFL cornerback in front of me, I could still do my thing. But back to this game against Georgia. Once again, we started off hot. I mean, that was the story every game. We would always get off to a good start. We put 2 quick touchdowns on the board, and then your boy got into the end zone himself. And once again, we was in a situation where we had a team down 21-0. But college football is a long game. And them boys ended up coming back with a quick touchdown of their own and the field goal as well. And then they had 10. And we went on a cold streak for a little bit, but I ended up finding the end zone again, making a tough catch right over the defender. I'm telling y'all, man, I'm really different out here. No matter who we going against. But this is one of the games that I think about all the time, man. I mean, there was just so many small mistakes that we made that could have changed the entire course of the game. And it was just little stuff, like an interception here, a missed read there, wide receivers dropping passes, us not making the right reads. It was a lot of stuff that went on. And all in all, we could have had a way better performance. Because next thing you know, it went from us being up 21-0 to them being up 29-28. And we was fighting back just to get the lead. Now with 3 minutes left to go in the game, all we needed to get was a field goal for real, but we ended up getting so close to the red zone that we had to go for the score. I mean, why not? So we punched it in for 7, and I thought we was in good shape, man. And on top of that, we actually ended up getting the ball back, and then our quarterback threw a costly pick that would once again turn into a pick 6. And I actually didn't even want the ball on that possession. I would prefer we run the ball and just chew up some clock, but that's just not how it went. And then we found ourselves in overtime with them being up 43-36, and all we needed to do was convert. But sadly, the quarterback ended up throwing another pick, man. And just like that, Georgia had beat us. And it stung a little bit, man, because they was undefeated, and we actually had the potential to beat them. Everybody on the team still believed that we was the best team in the conference. And luckily, we got to see them again and fight for a championship. You must be out of your mind if you think I wasn't locked in and ready for game time. From the moment the first snap happened, man, something clicked. I was focused. I wanted my get back for sure. We should have beat these boys the first time. And coming into this game, man, we all knew that. And I was getting off to a good start, per usual. They calling this dude the best cornerback in college football, but I was still able to do whatever I wanted. And I actually ended up being the first one to score this time, and I put 7 on the board real quick. tie game. And man, the onslaught continued. After that first touchdown, everything started to click, and our QB was actually playing great. You would think his morale would be down after that last game we had against Georgia, throwing 2 costly picks, but man, he came in here fully focused, and that's what I like to see. He was actually finding me on my zig routes, and that was part of the reason why I was able to get 2 quick touchdowns. I really think Georgia was sleeping on us this game. I figured that they thought since they beat us already, beating us a second time would be easy, but man, they just didn't know all we had was redemption on our mind. I also forgot to mention that I took a peek at my draft projection before this game, and it was a little bit lower than what I actually thought, so that just put an extra chip on my shoulder. And let me tell you, after this game, it definitely had to go up. I mean, on this play, the DB just completely wasn't ready, and I was just completely treating these dudes like little boys on this run. And I ended up going all the way into the end zone and getting that tutty. And man, it wasn't my first time being in the end zone today, so you know I had to show out. We found ourselves being up 42-14, and I took a big hit. Definitely left a stinger, but it was all worth it in the end, because we dropped 56 on Georgia head, and we was SEC champions, the leaders, the rulers of the conference. And I had about almost 300 yards with 4 tutties. Couldn't ask for a better championship game. Man, when them end of the season awards came out, best believe my phone was blowing up. Not only did I win Player of the Year, but your boy ended up securing that Heisman. Man, I had 30 touchdowns on the season, and I was close to almost 3,000 yards. They gave me the Best Receiver Award, and the awards just kept piling on. All-American, All-SEC. I was really blessed to be in this position, and everybody remember where I started. And finishing the season with a 10-3 record wasn't too bad. Hey man, we did enough to get into the college playoffs, and that was one of the main goals. And as soon as we got there, our focus was that natty. And we had already been dominant against teams, so we just wanted to keep the streak going. And my oh my did it. Man, this offense was locked in like no other. And it's crazy because when the season first started, we didn't even know each other like that. We had 2 new receivers, and we had no chemistry at all. But man, that quickly went away as the season went on. And everybody got better, not just myself, but the entire offense. The defense too. They was doing their thing, holding teams to a certain amount of points. Man, the whole team was lit. We had Oklahoma turned. And in the first round of the playoffs, we got Purdue up out of there fairly easy with a 42-10 win. Now, next up, we had to go against Baylor. And they ended up putting up points on the board first, but that ain't mean nothing to us, because we knew what we was going to do. We was just worried about if they was going to be able to stop it or not. But man, our confidence was so much through the roof, we didn't think nobody could stop us. Man, we could go play a football game in heaven, and some of us probably wouldn't even think Jesus would be able to stop us. But man, the onslaught just continued and continued and continued. I mean, they started off with the lead, but we snatched that thing and ran with it. And I ain't talking about Ezell from Friday. But man, your boy was actually doing his thing this game. Somehow, Baylor ended up going on a crazy run that put them back in the game. So once again, we found ourselves in another crazy game where we actually could have lost. But luckily, they called my number at the end of the game, and you already know I show up and deliver. And man, I was turned. I was not finna let us choke this game. And we ended up winning this mug by 3, and we was on to the natty. I don't know about y'all, but I was tired of playing against Georgia. I mean, this was the 3rd time in just a few weeks. But of course, who else would we be going up against? I mean, them boys' records said it all. But during this game, we just jumped out to an early lead, and it basically stayed there the whole game. I mean, there was no drama or anything. We just stayed locked in, stayed poised. The offense was connecting. I was even treating that cornerback like a little boy. Man, everything was going right for us this game. It's like that one loss against Georgia just woke us up. We never wanted to lose to them boys again. And man, the end of the Cinderella story was just as expected. 38-31. I was gonna walk out as a national champion. And my oh my, we had them Georgia fans in shambles. Man, y'all boys really been here since my freshman year. And well, I hope y'all gonna follow my journey into the pros. We on to the league.
You can't tell a hard worker not the grind. You can't tell her she a penny, she really worth a dime. You can't tell them stop the clock when you know it's your time. I look her in the eyes.